we're live.
Okay, stream's live now.
I think.
We're ready, baby.
I'm trying to find.
It says live. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. We got no music, I guess.
Okay, we'll put the music on.
Well, how do you do that? You're the producer. You're the director. You're Mr. This. You're Mr. That. You're the guy that prepared.
Can you hear it this time?
The music? No.
Can't?
No.
Huh. I think you're ribbing me.
Well, you can think all you want to, but I'd be stupid to just say that when it's not.
Test. I can't even tell my microphone's on. Oh. Am I talking through the microphone? Test. Well, you need 70 QQs. Is this thing on?
Is this thing on?
Output. Speakers. My input. Test. Try that. How's that? Is that my speaker or my microphone now? Does that sound different, Rip? Now?
No, you sounded good all the time. But if there was any music that played, I couldn't hear anything.
Testing, mic test. You didn't hear the music, huh?
No.
I don't know how. All right, we're on, Rip.
Okay, we're on. Wait a minute. Go. Okay. Music. Okay.
All right.
Oh, you just
welcome to Wrestling with Rip Rogers. Ask Rip Rogers Live. Friday, May 16th, 2025, man. Rip is still in Vegas.
This is...
What's that mean?
Nothing.
Okay. All right. Rip's not in Vegas.
Yeah.
Meaning... What?
God damn.
I'm not supposed to say that?
No, you're picking up on it, ain't you?
Well, we've only... okay. Give me a niggy. We've only done it 2 weeks in a row. I don't know why we would just all of a sudden this week not do it.
Okay, well.
Okay, well. I can sit here and pout too if you want to do that.
No, I'm not pouting. I'm listening.
I can go that route. Fucking it ain't my show. It's your show.
Well, you're the host.
Well, yeah, I obviously don't know what I'm supposed to say and not say. So you host. I can't say that. So what the hell?
Okay, I'll just host.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, hey, I'm hosting right now. Vaughn,
get your notes out.
I got all kinds of notes. I got millions of notes. This is the greatest Friday I've been in today. So I've been writing my notes down ever since for 3 weeks now. So this could be the greatest in many, many months. And I knew since the production assistant wasn't there would probably be no music. So I can't plug Stardust, the greatest band ever. When Vaughn Lilas come out and hit the guy with the stick and all their big top 20 hits of everywhere. Anyway, to start the day off, first of all, I want to talk about Jim Ross. Jim Ross has got colon cancer. So he's going to be having surgery in the next couple of weeks. So we want to give Jim Ross the greatest voice in the pro wrestling business around. We want to give him some thoughts and prayers for good old JR. So Jim, from Vaughn, from me, from everybody in Wrestling with Rip Rogers land, we're in your corner. We're giving you thoughts and prayers. And then there's my buddy Joe Slack. Joe Slack is the guy that used to make all the sketches for everybody. And his wife Tammy, and Joe's still in the hospital. He's fighting out, trying to live another day, just like me and Vaughn Lilas. Man, I was at the gym training, hanging and banging yesterday, and they had these big tests they put you through for your bodies and everything. And this kid had this, that, height, weight, how long he's going to fucking live, and it said 76 years old, and the guy was 22 years old and a little bit pudgy, right? I'm going, damn, no matter what, I'm 71 right now. I better get to smiling and making trouble and laughing and giggling and doing whatever right now, because hell, if I'm normal, I got I got about 4 years to live, and that's about it. So I need to get into some shit here. We need to do this and stir some stuff. And it seems like all we're doing is talking about wrestlers that are on the final limb of the final inning of their life. And then that's like Sabu dying. The great Sabu, the Sheik's nephew, the original Sheik, who trained Sabu and Rob Van Dam. And a lot of times at the Fan Fest, I'll be sitting over by Sabu. And he hardly talked, but I'd be talking about the Sheik all the time, and he'd be laughing about it. But I seen when he's 60 years old, he was doing all that crazy shit he was doing when he was 25. I just couldn't believe it. And he was always getting cut up, and he'd never go to the doctor. He wouldn't go to the hospital. He did any kind of cuts or he just super glue it. But that's been a secret in the wrestling business for years and years. You just puncture yourself. Oh, just super glue it. You don't have to go to the fucking doctor. So Sabu, one of the greats of all times, and the Sheik trained him, and the Sheik trained the great Rob Van Dam. And I got to work for the Sheik when I was starting out, and I was rotten. And he was the way he was supposed to be. He just kept the Sheik persona, and he just glare at me when I talk to him in English. So I scared to death of him. And he's been gone from this world. I don't know how long, but he's gone, and I'm still scared of him. Then Vaughn Lilas is sitting there being 6'6", and then he's thinking about how his boy Pat McAfee, who him and Randy of Turbo and Floyd fame, basically put him through the motions every day. Had Pat throwing up. Lilas would be beating him to death. And it should have got him in shape, but he did, because he had that great match with Gunther. And Gunther chopped the shit out of him and chopped the shit out of him and chopped the shit out of him. But that was just a normal day that he should have been used to that, because that's what Vaughn Lilas used to do to him. But Pat would be running from Lilas. Oh, so I'm going through on my notes here. So I got a lot of stuff that Screaming Baboon from Australia, he's been contacting me. Oh, there's Pat. There's Gunther. Pat getting the shit beat out of him. But I thought he'd been toned up from used to that shit from Lilas beating him up. But Pat's got so much shit going. You know, he's the big guy in college game day football. He's one of the richest men in the world. He's got the big Pat McAfee network on ESPN, Leading the Dream. And I think he's the only guy I've ever seen that can use excessive profanity and get away with it. He must have some super duper stroke. But I think all his is just alleged anyway. So it doesn't really matter. I'm waiting for some super stickers to come in. I'm waiting for George to jump on here. I'm waiting for Screaming Baboon to get in on here, because I got to have some money, baby. We need some questions asked. We need to see what the people out there, what they're wanting to hear about, whether they want to hear about Joker and how he's doing against the big game against Oklahoma City, which I think Oklahoma City is going to win, but I'm for Joker. Or our Pacers. That's right, our Pacers. They're going to be in there, and they're going to beat the Knicks when the Knicks win. And then the Pacers are going to be NBA champions. And then everybody on the network will be mad because Los Angeles is not going to be in it, and New York's not going to be in it. So they're going to have smaller cities, so it's not going to draw as good. Then they'll get mad at us. It's not my fault. And then let's see. Oh, yeah. And then Sin Bodie just got back. Sin Bodie of OVW fame, the warlord of Weird. He's a big star on Power Slap with Dana White. I'm just trying to snarf in there, but I'm always a nickel or dime short or a day or two late. But such is life. I'm asking. I said, I'm begging. I said, hey, we need some questions because we need some money. We need some super
Got questions.
All right.
On you to quit reading your notes.
Oh, okay. Oh, Screaming Baboon, baby. What did he say here? I see. I can't read it.
Rip first beat up Macho Man, then he slapped the shit out of Bradshaw. JBL said he stiffed the shit out of him, I guess.
Who did?
When you slapped him at that convention we were at.
No, that was a rib. I just slapped him hard in the back so he'd turn around like he was ready to kill me, like he was a mark, like I was a mark. Then he saw me, he sort of started laughing and quit selling. It was one of them slaps that made more noise than hurt, but you know, I wasn't going to slap JB. Are you kidding me? Are you ribbing me? Some bitches. I think isn't he about an inch taller than you, Vaughn?
Way taller.
Is he?
40-ounce C-Dub, $5.
C-Dub's on here, baby. That's all.
$5 super sticker. Shane Parks in the house with the $4 super sticker.
He's got to be talking about something about Roseburg or Medford, Oregon, or whatever, the Portland territory. Just living the dream. Shane Parks, the man for the Pacific Northwest. Don't get any better than that.
Dylan Bosnick was in here at 10:15 a.m. Opinion Haver in green. Frank's Pickleberry Ice in green. Gregory Malla in the house. Tom Montgomery. Patrick Young ready for class in green. Bull Digging in green. George Jetson from outer space. 70QQ. Audio and video check. Good. Billy were $8. Screaming Baboon in green. Here's the music. Shane Parks in green. Italian in the house. Visvex. Fun Sabu rip story. When Tarek and I were working for Mike Samples, he wanted to book us versus Sabu. Because of our size, Sabu refused to work with us. As a rib, Rip said he would work with us.
Did I? I can't remember.
I remember Flash and Sabu at one of those sample shows. They tore the house down. McAfee is a clown shoes joke and doesn't belong in a wrestling ring, and there's nothing great about that match. Get your effing eyes checked, Rip.
Who said that?
Daniel Price said that.
Oh, Daniel Price. Have your 30 seconds of fame. A, fuck you. B, fuck you. C, fuck you. You're just a fucking mark, and you ain't got a fucking clue what a good goddamn match is. How's that?
It's your show.
Okay, that's right.
Was that in the notes?
No.
What did you really think of that? I feel like with that match, they got to go. Is Pat going to start wrestling?
No, that was just a thing.
I don't get it then, I guess.
Well, Gunther just basically beat the shit out of him and beat him.
I didn't think so. It lasted for, 15 minutes?
Yeah, but it was...
And Pat got shit in, too. He got the punt in. He got chops in.
And, okay, he didn't beat Gunther. You don't know. You want him to look like Pat's trying his ass off. He's a legit asshole.
Gunther tapped out Uso in about 2 minutes, and McAfee went 15 with him. I was a little confused myself on that. Just saying. I didn't really get it. I thought maybe... the way they were putting over McAfee, that he was going to start wrestling.
Oh, hell no.
I'm not saying he didn't get... I honestly think Gunther took it easy on him a little bit. I think he should have got beat up more, worse. Some of those chops were all right, but I think he should have beat the dog shit out of him. I don't know. I think he got an awful lot in McAfee,
well,
is.
He did, but it looked like Gunther could destroy him anytime he really wanted to.
I think it should have been like me and Cody Carnage in wherever he was from.
I'm still thinking about the big thing with Tarek the Great, because I knew he was full of piss and vinegar, but he was really small. I remember that.
Yeah. I found this looking for. Can you see that?
Yeah. That's in the barn, right? Oh yeah, I remember. Oh yeah. Uh-oh, look out.
Not this, no.
He runs from you.
Get who back?
Uh-oh.
Look, you taught him the punt.
Yeah, I know.
That's where this came from.
Yeah. Well, if he's got the
let's
$1
say
million
you set it up,
leg, right?
that's the big move.
Multi-million-dollar leg.
So the whole thing is you can soften him up. He takes a half-ass bump, then he spins around right into your punt.
Him?
Yeah.
Should I kick him in the head?
Yes.
Yes. Good answer.
Okay. This is fucking awesome.
They said it, buddy. I'm a man of the people.
The man of the people. Boom!
Artificial.
How about that?
That's fucking awesome.
And
Huh?
and for you guys out there that don't know, the bald guy in the ring was Randy, Turbo, and Floyd from the Outrunners. That
That's
was
right.
that was
Turbo
an
and
outrunner
Floyd.
in the ring.
Yeah.
So
We did our
Anyway.
barn. We did our barn time.
yeah, there was. I mean, if you guys haven't seen that, go to. I think it's on Barstool. We'll probably get a strike, I'm sure, for showing it, whatever. But Chasing the Dream, I think it was called Chasing the Dream.
That's right.
There's 2 episodes out there. Pretty cool. They got that one had where you had the flat tire or whatever. We were trying to
Yeah.
trying to air up the tire. That was pretty funny.
Now, was Vibber doing camera? Jeff Vibber?
I don't remember.
I can't.
I don't
remember.
think he was doing camera. They had their
I
own
do. Yeah.
like camera crew or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't think. All right, let's see. We got any other questions? Bull Diggins said I said it here 2 weeks ago. Pacers Knicks again. Hope so.
Well,
I don't know. I'd take either one.
I can't see. I can't see Boston without their star with him being out.
They looked pretty good without him the other night.
I know it, but now they're going to
Ball, pass the ball.
Yeah, it's just hard to lose if you're Babe Ruth and you're not playing. Even though Lou Gehrig may pick up the slack one game.
Looks like Daniel Price. Looks like we're gonna have to ban Daniel Price today, Rip.
What's he doing?
Now he's saying F Sabu, he was a piece of shit. You assholes boo-hooing over a scumbag. Oh, and then he calls you a decrepit old man.
Oh, great.
Probably got to get him out of here, don't we?
Yeah, just
Look at that. F you, Ripper.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's on the show, but, you know.
Okay, what's his name? I never heard of him.
Daniel, you've never heard of him, huh? You didn't
No.
see any of his matches on YouTube or anything like that?
No, I didn't.
See him on
Hell, he
WWE? You've never
he
seen him on
must be-
WWE?
He must be a top star or whatever, or a kayfabe name or whatever. And he's so smart to the business because he watches it on TV and he probably listens to Dave Meltzer too. He might have get one of the kayfabe sheets or something like that. I'm sure he's a top, as Sam Minnick would say about Handsome Jimmy, top-notch athlete and weightlifter. He's probably there. So.
Yeah. I'm gonna get rid of him. He'll have to come back on a different name, I guess.
Yeah,
a
he had to come
kayfabe
in as
name.
the
Yeah,
kayfabe
see you,
name.
Danny. See you, Danny boy.
Yeah. Have a good one, love.
What's the Chicago White Sox announcer? He always says he gone.
Oh, I know who you mean, but I see his face. The old man with the glasses on and the gray hair. But I can't.
Young
place
Buddy
it.
Joe, can Rip tell us about the Elephant Boy from Borneo? $2.
He's always asking shit that nobody even fucking heard of anymore. The son of a bitch is just a young, effeminate wrestler, that he can have all these fat women chasing him and giving him their money. And he wants to give me a $2 question talking about because it was from the original Sabu wrestling years ago. Then he had the Elephant Boy too, was what it was. It'd be like he was the Nick Gulas used to have the Indian, and then his son would play the tom-tom drums and everything. They give him an extra 2-0, and he got to hang out with his dad and be on TV. But that could be Joe.
So he said are your notes on a paper towel today, Rip?
Yeah, right here.
Paper towel, huh?
Mm-hmm. I don't have I got a notebook somewhere, but I can't find it.
I just started a brand new Rip Rogers notebook today, and it was 2 seconds into the show, I threw it away.
You forgot it or threw it away?
No, I had it right here, but all my shit, I don't want to say wrong things or do wrong things, so I just threw it all out right away. I had all kinds of shit prepared for today.
Oh, okay.
My young Mighty Joe wants to know how the Queen of the Ring is.
Well, I watched it. Now how did I watch it? Because Big George sent me a link to it, and I got to watch it for free. So that ain't too bad.
Okay, well, how was it?
It wasn't bad. Cornette got to be a star in it because he played Jack Pfeffer in there. Jack Pfeffer of the Gold Dust Twins, whatever they were that controlled wrestling in the early days. Strangler Lewis was a partner. He was a partner, and the other guy I can't think of right now, but they were the Gold Dust Trio. So Cornette was this. I bet he was liking the movie because he was in there and getting all this camera time, and he was the great Jack Pfeffer. So he was promoting the Jewish thing then. So Cornette went from no Catholicism, no Lutheranism to no Jewism. So I don't know. I just know Jimmy was a star. The thing that was a lot of the stuff, they were doing stuff that people didn't do later for 20 years though. That's, you know what I mean? They were acting like, even though it was supposed to have been so many years ago, they were doing stuff that you didn't do in pro wrestling at that time. But it was good. I watched the whole thing. So to get me to watch the whole thing, instead of watching the wrestling matches on TV, I got to watch it for free because George is always finding out a way to bootleg me stuff, get me this, get me that. I think George has got something going on the side, and he's been sending me a lot of magazines where they got naked people in it or whatever. It's not I didn't even ask for them, and he's just sending them and sending them and sending them. I'm not saying he's doing anything illegal, but I guess you can still do that across state lines. I don't know. There it is.
George. Here's what George sent me today.
Yeah. It's got a picture of you, and then I look like I'm 5'5" there, but I guess you are 6'6" on there. But I had the little midget legs.
Yeah, I got midget legs too.
That's funny.
I wish I had those arms. Thanks, George. Appreciate that.
Well, when you're so tall and you got long arms, it's hard to have the big arms because you got the longer arms.
Popcorn Classics in the house. He hadn't been here forever. Hi, Rip. I'm supposed to be working right now.
Well, don't.
But he's here instead. Ken Harrelson. Right. Ken Harrelson. That's the White Sox announcer that says.
Oh, Hawk Harrelson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shane Parks in green. Never worked with Tojo Yamamoto.
Oh, hell, he worked one of the Seymour shows. Lilas was there. Tojo, after Tojo worked that one, he wrote me the big thank you note. And then pretty soon after that, he killed himself. That must have been the highlight of his career, was what it was. But he
wrote you a thank you note after that show?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was in depression. Because they used him all those years, and then then all of a sudden they kayfabed him, you know. And that's all he knew was wrestling. He's like
I didn't know
me.
they kayfabed him, huh?
Well, they just quit booking him. They've only seen him for 50 years straight, you know.
You ever do anything in WWF?
No, he didn't have to. He had a job.
I just didn't know that. There was a lot of people had jobs, but WWF still took them and brought them in.
Well, you got to remember, the old WWF was not a big money territory. They had a few big clubs like.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking. I mean, when did he pass away?
When what?
When did he pass away? I'm not talking about the old WWF. I'm talking about like when he could have been a manager or done anything else in WWF.
Yeah, well, they. It's like when they brought Jimmy Hart in. He was a well-known commodity, and Tojo had to have the manager talk for him because he didn't talk very good English.
Yeah. Oh man, Daniel Price is back somehow, threatening.
Well,
Threatening us.
well, okay, good. But don't put him over.
Well, I'm just gonna report it on YouTube. I mean,
Okay.
you know, I'm just gonna take screenshots all your threads here, Daniel Price, and I'll just send those in to YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
the police or whoever else I need to send them to.
That's great. We get to get all this camera time for Daniel Price, who's
He doesn't make threats, fuckers. He makes promises. Well,
oh, okay.
screenshot and send that in too, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll try to ban him one more time, see if that helps any. Uh-oh, Rip has a phone call. Rip's gone. Now I can do he gone to Rip. Got a super chat for you too, Rip. We got 2 of them. Guess we'll wait on him. Thought I had I'll show this while he's gone. This is Rip's high school baseball picture. Rip is in the front right. Oh, we got now you're in here twice.
Well, great. Whatever.
Now you're in here once. Never mind.
Okay.
We got some super chats while you're gone.
Oh, great.
Patrick Young, $4.99 super chat. Hey, Rip, what is the idea behind a lockup at the start of a match? I always kind of wondered that myself.
Well, I guess it's like any sport. They got to have something. The first pitch of the game, the first kickoff, basketball, throwing the ball up, and have the initial jump ball or tip off to start the game. I'm old, but I'm not that old. And in today's wrestling, there's very seldom a lockup. It's almost like saying, "Oh, they got a headlock once," instead of jump starting everything, so that they can just fly out of the ring and do a dive and do all their big moves and stuff. All of a sudden, a lockup is something new because it's hardly done anymore.
Right. Was it like the original thing? Do you know? Like, was it always? Has the lockup always been around? Like since wrestling's been around?
Well, the lockup is just a move. You can walk up.
It's typically the starting move. Like that's how you start a match.
Well, that's like if you got an amateur wrestling match.
Right. Then that's how they do it.
Right.
So that's what I'm asking. Is this like, has this always been? Like he said, what is the idea behind it? I know it's like you start an amateur match.
Right.
When somebody's down and somebody's.
No, you don't. No, you don't start it that way. The initial part of the first period, you guys stalk or whatever, and then who's ever in control, then they get to be up or down.
Yeah.
But
is the lockup, is the idea behind the lockup to see who can get in control then?
No, it's just the start of a match is all it is.
We know that, but there's surely something like behind it, like where it came from, or
I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Yeah.
They were doing
that. Patrick Young.
They were doing that with George Hackenschmidt.
But it seems like it would be a neutral way to start, and then it would be whoever could get the advantage from the lockup to me. And then that's why when a heel boots you in the stomach, when you're going for the lockup, that's a heel move. Like that's a bad guy move. Like, oh, you didn't play fair. We should start in a lockup.
Yeah, in traditional catch can wrestling, you both start and you okay, fight, boom, and you stalk each other. And one guy shoots a single, goes for a fucking double, or whatever you guys are doing. It might, and if you're watching like Zupo's thing, when he was big time as a super heavyweight, it would be the most boring 2-to-1 match because they kept blocking everybody because it's real, and they're fighting each other, and just to control the tie-up was a big deal.
Thank you, Patrick Young. Appreciate it. Center of the board in here today.
All right.
Welcome center of the board with the $20 super chat. Hey, Rip, how important do you think the after magazines were to establish pro wrestling's credibility?
Well, it certainly didn't hurt. And I used to always get my bill after magazines because they used to have the territories in there. And then they would have the country rankings, the top tag teams in the nation, the top 10 of Memphis, the top 10 of Bruiser's territory, the top 10 of Florida. They would have all the top things listed in all these. And it looked like it was almost a major league roster every week, like you were putting all the stats in on the Major League Baseball, earned run average and wins loss for the pitchers and for the batters, RBI, home runs, etc. It was nothing better than being getting that Sunday paper and going over all those stats and everything.
Back then, though, did people send their own stuff in to be in the magazines?
Oh yeah, and then a lot of times they'd write their own stories about them and send it in like they're somebody, and all they wanted was filler for the magazines.
Did you ever do that?
No.
Never.
No, we did it for somebody. I can't remember who it was. We got somebody into Pro Wrestling 500, but I can't think of who it was right now.
Was it a real wrestler?
It was just a real one of us guys. He might have been from Seymour or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just can't remember which one we did it with.
Thank you, center of the board. That's awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but after magazines, they've been around for years, and Bill's always been there. I remember going to, I can't remember where we was on the East Coast somewhere, and we was in his office or whatever, and he was taking all these pictures and stuff like that. Once you take the pictures, you can use them for years, right?
Yeah.
Big George, I've seen, he's asking, who was Mickey Poole? Mickey Poole was who I stayed with in Nashville, Tennessee when I was working for Nick Goulas, because Mickey Poole used to be Jerry Lawler's manager. They did an angle where they pulled some fan, because he was just a super fan, and he was missing 2 cards instead of 1 like the rest of us. And Mickey was out there. But I was living with Mickey in Nashville for the first time I was there, and his apartment caught on fire. His apartment caught on fire, but he got out, and his wife and his kid got out, and I got out, but I got all the meat that was in the freezer, took it over to Ken Lucas's house, and then Kenny Lucas's wife, Anita, she cooked it all for us, and we had a big feast. So, but Mickey Poole, he was out there. He was a hell of a guy. He acted just like a fan, but he was like a fan, and that's what he wanted to act like. But he was Lawler's manager for in Memphis when Lawler was the big #1 heel, and Mickey Poole was, whenever somebody had to get their head shaved, it would always be Mickey, or Mickey to get tar and feathered, or Mickey would get hit with 10 lashes instead of Lawler and stuff. So Mickey was a character. He was a cool guy. You'd like him.
Frank in Green, you got his typical wrestling question. What year did you get your first shaved coochie?
I didn't get a shaved coochie.
Not your coochie, like a female that had a shaved coochie.
I don't know. Yeah, but I didn't. God, it was just so slick. It was so cool. And then after that, I always had him. I said, make sure you nair that thing or whatever, so it was nice and slick. But then the piss flaps would be sticking out, that little beam be sticking out. But there's nothing like that the shaved coochie down there? That's a hell of a question, because that's double awesome.
Thanks,
So we gotta-
Frank. Always
we gotta-
appreciate the sex questions.
Yeah. Well, maybe Frank didn't get any last night. You know how it is.
Center of the board, $15 super chat. Hey, Rip, what do you think about unsung heroes like
Louis Tilley.
Louis Tilley, Don Carson, and Norvell Austin?
Okay, well, Louis Tilley was not unsung. He was a booker in a lot of places. He was the boss. Of course, we call him Louis Toilet, but and then Don Carson, he was a big star at in Knoxville for Ron Fuller in the 70s. And Norvell Austin, he was one of the guys with Randy Rose and Dennis Condrey. They were the original Midnight Express. And Norvell was always working like in Pensacola or Mobile, somewhere down south. And but the first Midnight Express, it's had how many different peoples in the Midnight Express. But Norvell was one of the original ones. Dennis Condrey, even Honky Tonk was a member of the Midnight Express. And then Bobby Eaton, yeah, years and years ago. And then Bobby Eaton was. But there's been about 7 different guys in the Midnight Express. So the Midnight Express, they might go somewhere with like Dennis Condrey, but he would have Phil Hickerson with him and somebody else. And there would, sometimes there'd be 2 Midnight Expresses going in 2 different territories. This was before cable TV.
Who else did Norvell Austin tag with down in Memphis?
God.
Coco Ware. They were the
I was-
PYTs, weren't
Yeah,
they? The pretty young things.
I was thinking of Coco, and I'm trying to think of the other guys. I see his face, but I can't place him right now. Let's see, Randy Alls, who was Randy Rose. Yeah, but I was watching Norvell out of the Ghoulish Wrestling years and years and years ago, before they even split off with Jarrett. He was good.
Thank you, center of the board. Mackenzie Lambert in the house with a $5 super chat. Has there been an actor you saw and thought he could be a wrestling draw? For me, Kurt Russell, Big Trouble in Little China would have been huge. Any actors out there, Rip, that you think, man, he could be a
when you
good
was
draw?
talking about Kurt Russell, yeah, he could have been a wrestler easy. He just needed to put on some muscles and stuff, because he could talk that shit, and he had the great facials, and he was a real actor. But yeah, he would have been good. So that's good. That's a good pick right there, Mackenzie.
Anybody else you can think of off the top of your head?
Like how about Hoss Cartwright?
Well, they tried like Mr. T, like he was an actor that they turned wrestler, and then you realized how little he looked so big on the A team.
Yeah, well,
and then you saw how little he was in person once he got in the ring with all those other guys.
Yeah, we saw him. We saw him on Rocky 3 before he was on the A train, right?
A team.
A-team,
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so we saw him on.
Well, I don't know that I saw that movie, but yeah.
Yeah, well,
but he was still a little small. He looked so jacked on the A team, which he was jacked. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he was like me. He was just lacking in height. I guess he should have wore some boots with 8-inch lifters in it.
Center of the board on fire. $10 super chat. Rip, how over was the Mongolian Stomper in the Southeast?
He was over there, and he was over in Calgary. He was probably over in Calgary almost more than anybody. And that was before he even came to the States, because Archie Goldie, who was a Mongolian Stomper, he's Canadian. So he made all of his money up with Stu Hart, and he always had a manager, and he would never speak when he was when he was in Calgary. Now, a lot of times he would never speak when he was working in the States, but some places he would speak after. All of a sudden, I don't know if he got hit in the head or he decided to quit kayfabing everybody, but at least he didn't talk like he was just a Rhodes Scholar graduate in voiceology or anything like that. But I worked with Archie Goldie, who was the Stomper, years ago, and we just laughed and didn't do a damn thing.
But in case he was really wanting to know the answer to his question for $10, how over was he in the Southeast?
Well, when he was there the best, it was he was one of the main eventers, and the houses were good. So I don't know how to answer that. He was always used on top, and he always had a manager. And if they'd turn him babyface or whatever, Knoxville was everybody liked to work Knoxville, which was Ron Fuller's territory, but they just called it Knoxville because they hardly did any miles, and they had all those lakes and stuff around there. That's where Garvin he stole Ron Fuller. What he did was he won the kayfabe boat tournament, and they went, and Fuller took him to court because Garvin, he won the thing, so he got the boat. So then the judge said, "Well, I don't care if it was rigged or not. Ronnie Garvin's was the winner of the tournament, and the decision of who was ever to get the boat was the guy that won the tournament." So Garvin just laughed and lived on the boat on the river there. Because that was funny.
You have that stand that I bought you? You could put your phone on?
If I did, I would have it up here.
You don't have it with you?
No.
Bummer. Let's see. What else we got in here? Who had the best figure 4 leg lock, in your opinion, Rip? From Shane Parks in green.
Well, the only person that I knew hardly used a figure 4 leg lock was Flair, but he hardly ever won with it. On TV, they'd always win with it, but then when they would get a star versus a star at a championship match, he might put a figure 4 on it and the guy not give up, and then he passes out, or they put the alcohol thing on his face or whatever, and then he passes out from that or whatever. But Buddy Rogers was about the first guy that he used a figure 4 leg lock. But if you didn't have access to all that, you didn't get to see all that stuff.
Yeah. Italian said, Rip, any stories of Mike Rotunda? I always call him Rotundo.
Yeah. Well, he was a real athlete. He went to Syracuse University, and he was a real amateur wrestler and played on the varsity football team. So he was a badass. And he was never a smart aleck or anything. He was always polite. He was always cordial, and he worked hard. He wasn't a guy that I would have went out of my way to pay, but he was a good hand to have on the card, and he was legitimate as hell.
Where are we at here?
We're waiting for Screaming Baboon to hit us with a big one, I'm thinking.
Let's see. What else we got? Talking about John Holmes being a wrestler. Think he would have been a good wrestler?
Well, you can roll that wash rag up and not have anything, and you can think you are John Holmes down there. So if you got that thing packed down there, you put the hot dog down there, roll up the sock or wash rag, put a couple rubber bands around it, and all of a sudden you're looking good.
I'm trying to think. There was something. Did you see the story about? Have you kept up at all with DiBiase's story?
You mean the kids or Teddy?
Kid, the junior.
I mean, where they was
looks like he might be in some legit trouble coming up, possibly.
But I thought Brett Favre was too doing stuff like that, wasn't he?
Yeah, it looked like about the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Whatever happened with Favre? Did he get off that?
I don't have. Well, how much money's he got? If you've got money, you're going to get out of it.
Well, I know, but that's the thing. How much money does he have? If he's allegedly all used, so he doesn't sue us like he was going to sue McAfee.
Oh,
if he was allegedly stealing like hundreds of thousands of dollars, how much? I mean, do you really have that much money if you're trying to steal money, allegedly?
I don't know, but it's good work if you can get it right.
I mean, there's a lot of former NBA players, NFL players that are broke. So I don't know. I don't know what, I don't know his financial situation, but definitely a lot of them go bankrupt and broke. They spend so much, then they don't have it anymore.
Well, it's look at it this way. Years ago, you didn't really make a lot of money.
Not compared to now.
No, I mean, guys would have to get jobs after the season was over because you only got paid during the season. And they were usually like used car salesmen where you had a name, like you was getting a car from Brett Favre or a car from some other a famous baseball player or a famous basketball player. And then when you go back and read about when the NBA was fighting the ABA, they were they said, "Oh God, he signed for $10,000 for the year, right?" I said, "Well, God damn, I could have made that with 3 paper routes, But they played for the love of the game then. It ain't like it is now, where you're a quarterback and you read, you don't know how much of it's real or not. Where some guys are making, would you say $40 million a year or whatever, like Patrick Mahomes or whatever, is that his name, for the Chiefs and stuff like that? You could never spend all that money.
You wouldn't think.
Well, that's why years ago they had the Chicago Black Sox, because they couldn't make any money.
Yeah. Shane Park said he knows you worked for Ole, but did you ever wrestle Ole Anderson?
Oh yeah, Ole loved to wrestle me.
Oh, you did? I didn't know you ever did.
Oh yeah, because and I love to wrestle Ole and Gene, because Gene couldn't hardly do anything, but all he'd want to do is grab you, because you couldn't. He had the world's greatest grip strength, but he had already had. He wasn't in very good health, so he couldn't get in there very long. So Ole was always. We would just tag in and out on Ole. He goes, "You motherfuckers." I said, "Yeah, and what's your point? Am I supposed to be stupid?" But Ole, he was a stiff prick. And yeah, he'd just take me and he'd play with me. He'd let you know where he was at. And he was always getting a little bear hug on you, sticking his thumbs in where he's putting them on your fucking ribs. And he's put his chin and rub it on your breastbone in there, just pushing on that. Every old school trick there was. And all I would just do was just say, "Fuck you, Ole." And he'd just laugh. I love working for Ole.
Big George, celebrating his 3-month membership, said, "What was it like working Ronnie Garvin?"
Well, it depends what kind of mood he was in. He wouldn't say one word in the ring. He usually wouldn't take a bump. He'd crumble. He'd slide. He'd go to a knee. And at that time, he was the only guy I ever saw that would get a shoulder up instead of a kick out. And now everybody just gets the shoulder up. But Garvin, he didn't give a shit who you were. He would eat you up because he was a goddamn wrestling machine. He just loved to get on the fucking mats. And he'd go to the high schools and college. And he just always wanted to go to wrestling teams and work out with them just to stay in shape. He was a freak.
Thanks, George. Another question from George, $1.99 super chat. Any stories on Jerry Brown and Buddy Roberts?
Well, Jerry Brown and Buddy Roberts, they were the original Hollywood Blondes, was what they were. So it was Jerry Brown and Buddy Roberts. Then it was me and Ted Oates. Then it was Brian Pillman and Steve Austin. So like Ole does, Ole likes to just take somebody that worked 10 years before that or whatever and use the same names or the same. He goes, "Oh, you got new people. They don't fucking remember." I said, "Well, goddamn, Ole, he wasn't remembering then, just like I can't remember now." But yeah, there's been 3 Hollywood Blondes teams, and they were all a little bit different. But they all were used good.
Now, you know 40-ounce C-Dub?
Oh, hell yeah, C-Dub.
He's got to go. I think he had a question a long time ago, but I can't remember what it was.
Well,
or maybe I did it. Did I ask it? I can't remember.
One earlier he did. But
he said, "Did you ever run into the tag team, the Interns? My old coworker was one of them, trained by Fargo."
Well, I'm wondering which. See, there was a lot of interns.
Yeah.
The original interns was Jim Starr with Kim Ramey, and I'm trying to think of the other one. I can see him. Curtis Smith. Curtis Smith was one of the original interns, but Curtis, he was like 3 different characters under the hoods. Like Frankie Kane was one of the Infernos, and then he was one of the assassins or whatever like that. A lot of the guys, there was always, almost every territory, there was some assassins and interns. But if you knew Dr. Ken Ramey was there, you knew they were the originals.
Center of the board on fire today. Another $15 super chat. Hey, Rip, Ole Anderson was known as a whole anus, but talk about Ole Anderson as a talent and booker.
Ole Anderson was such a good booker that he was booking the Atlanta territory and the Charlotte territory at the same time. And he would come in and out of both of them, and he'd put himself in the main event, right? Which is exactly what you would do, Vaughn would do, and anybody else would do, because you're getting booker money. You're getting bonus money for being the booker too. And then you're getting your main event payoffs and stuff. But like what Charlotte would run 2 towns a night, or 3 towns a night at that time, because that was before cable TV. So they had all these guys, and Ole would have his big list of everybody there, and he'd be this, and getting everything. He'd go over it. But he was so good at that, he had done it so long. And then and every place he'd go, he couldn't make all the towns, so he would have somebody. It was usually like Ronnie West or somebody, and they would run the shows, and they just take care of it. It's like when I was running shows for Ole Anderson, Ronnie West was. He had to teach me how they wanted it done. But hell, I've been running towns for ICW for years ago. So that was all fun. It was just him hanging around, laughing, getting paid to help me. So that was cool. But Ole was fucking great. Ole was great. All Ole did was would not lie to you. He'd say, Ole, you got me booked? He says, yeah, but you're doing jobs, and more jobs, you little shit. And that would be Ole. Or you say, Ole, am I working? Yeah, but you're losing every night you're here because you're a fat motherfucker. And until you get in shape, that's what you're going to get. It's up to you. And that's what he'd talk to everybody. And I understood that. I said, yeah, I got it. In other words, don't be fat, get in shape, do what you're told, and work hard.
Thank you, center of the board. And Michael Costello, the longest living member, along with, he was on here today, Opinion Haver was here early. Have the best show today, boys. So our 2 longest living members of all time, Opinion Haver and Michael Costello, are both here today. Michael Costello said the center of the board is over with me. That's right, me too. And Rip appreciates all the super chats.
Where's Greg at?
From center of the board.
Where's Greg?
Who's Greg?
Well, you know who Greg is. The smartest guy here. He'll
I don't
tell
know.
me.
He's Greg Smith. He's not always on.
Yeah, okay. I guess he couldn't tell me if I made a mistake or not, if it was the interns or if
we're trying to put over center of the board right now.
Yeah, well, I thought I answered all these questions.
Well, you did, but we're just putting him over even more since he's had so many high dollar super chat questions.
Well, he's over with me. You know that.
Well, I mean, I was kind of starting to wonder. I don't know. You wanted to know about Greg. I don't know. I was starting to.
I was trying to lure him to get, and like the weasel, I thought he told me he was going to show up and have some high dollar questions because he was supposed to play poker last night at Scottsburg or Austin, and he said he was on a win streak.
He tried to become a member. I didn't let him. Bull digging in green. Ever wrestle? Is it Luke Poirier?
Yeah, he was Rambo.
AKA Rambo.
Yeah, he was about 6'4", and he had a hot American wife, and he was French Canadian from Montreal, but he spoke good English. But he first just started in speaking French, right? Then he got the American girlfriend, so he learned English. And I said, Rambo. He goes, yes, Rip. I said, now that you're bilingual, do you think in English or French? He said, I used to think in French, but now I think in English. because like your mind's talking to you. Oh, you got to go 2 rights or 2 lights, take a right, and then look at the blue house on the next street or whatever. But now his mind's. But that was a good question because that always intrigued me. If they were bilingual and they're thinking it,
Yeah.
what are you thinking about? So Luc Poirier, Rambo, but in Germany they called him. He's sort of like Rambo, 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 Rambo.
There, 40-ounce C-Dub said, my coworker name is Ted. He was known as Teddy LeDuc without a mask.
Okay, so I guess he was a long lost cousin or a sexual accident of Joe LeDuc, I guess, huh?
He was a local intern.
It was a local intern. Well, he should have been French Canadian if he was going LeDuc.
Center of the board on
back,
fire.
baby.
Hey, Rip, I think that the Southeast was one of the hottest areas in wrestling. What role do you think the talent from this area played in wrestling's explosion into popularity?
It was good because Fuller took it, which was part of 2 or 3 territories, and made it 1 territory. And he ran Knoxville. That was his best club every week. He ran Johnson City every week. But he had he took all these towns, and guys worked hard for Fuller because they liked the short trips. They like making above average money. And when you're working for the Fullers, they never yelled at you. They always could just talk slow. And Robert Fuller was, he was funnier than shit. And then Ron would come in, and Ron was serious as shit, but he was always laughing and everything. But everybody liked to work for the fucking Fullers. And they were easy. They were easy on the head. They were easy on everybody. But the main thing is you could stay there for years, and you'd be babyface, then you'd be heel, and you go back to being a babyface and back to being a heel. And you could basically, if you were a parent, you could have your kids in school there, and pretty much they could spend their whole career there, because Fuller knew how it was to have fucking kids and had to put them in school.
Got it. Thanks again, center of the board. Shane Park, speaking of LeDuc, ask if you ever wrestled Joe LeDuc.
Oh my God, I'm scared to death of him. I was wrestling. I think it was Southeastern, and we was in some kind of tournament. So the heels would be working the heels, and the baby faces would. They actually drew stuff out, and we didn't know what it wasn't planned. They just drew them. And then, so I remember the ref said, "Okay, work this," but they said that, and everybody there was a pro, so it wasn't no big fucking deal. And this you over whatever, and Joe, he had that fucking scarred up fucking head. He was still leaking blood from earlier in the week, and he'd be glaring at me. Have that weight. He is weighing about 290 pounds, stronger than shit. He reared back with that face and them fucking eyes, and he hit me as hard as he could. At this, boop. He barely touched me. I said, "Oh my God, thank you." He goes, "Ha ha ha! You didn't know I was that good, did you?" I said, "No, but I'm still scared of you. Fuck you." But Joe was a good guy. He used to go to Waffle House every night. He would always get like 3 entrees or whatever. And let's say, and he was a hell of a drinker too. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he scared me.
Yeah.
Any stories of the Mulkeys? Italian wants to know.
They were good boys. They were great bump takers, and they just get the shit beat out of them. But they had to, because they looked like they weighed about 150 pounds. But they had the old bleach blonde hair and the nice robes and shit. Their bodies looked like shit. They were the underdogs. They always did their best and got the shit beat out of them, and they got people over. And they fucking loved every man. They were like me. They just wanted to be a wrestler.
Center of the board said when he talks about the Southeast, it also includes Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee, he said.
Oh, I was talking about the Southeastern territory.
Yeah, I guess he's just talking about all of it.
Oh, okay. So you got part of the Charlotte territory, part of the Florida territory, part of the Pensacola territory, part or the Atlanta territory, part of Nick Goulas's, part of Jerry Jarrett's, and part of George C. Calkins of Mississippi. That's the officially the southeastern area. But I thought you was talking about the old southeastern territory that Fuller had.
Yeah. Let's see.
Are you sure the weasel hadn't poked his head in there and said, "Hey, I'm a big winner. Acknowledge me," or anything like that?
I haven't seen him. George said, "What would you do to help Braun Breaker?"
Well, I put that on Facebook today or whatever, because they showed that thing of him doing the world's worst fucking punch.
Oh God, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I didn't know it was him at first.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That's
And
unfortunate.
That's on The Office.
Why?
No, you don't get brought up unless you can master everything. It looks like he's never done that in his life.
Who was he punching?
I think it was CM Punk, wasn't it?
That's what I was wondering. Was he just trying to not
No.
potato the guy he was punching?
He was making sure he didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But what he should have done, he shouldn't have thrown a punch at all. He should have just started fucking choking him like he's losing it, like Rick Steiner would do or whatever if you can't throw a good punch, and start headbutting the guy and just fucking and acting like you're doing something and threaten because he was covering up good. He probably knew he was going to get killed, or at least he thought he was going to get killed. But I saw
those punches were brutal, though.
Yeah, they were some of the worst I've ever seen. So it's up to him and at the people to perform it. It's 5 minutes a day to practice the goddamn punches.
I just have to believe that he's better than that and just was tried not to hit Punk or not thinking the camera was going to see it like that or just what, like, I don't know. Surely to God, he can throw a better punch than that. Sure.
Well, here's the thing. When I started, I was the same way.
Well, sure. I think most people are.
You're so scared. You either don't want to make it look phony or you don't want to hurt them. Because if you hurt somebody, nobody will want to work with you. So you're paranoid about hitting anybody. So you think of what can I do to do the same thing without doing anything? And he hadn't been in the business long enough to figure that out. But he just needs to. But then again, I wonder was that a single angle or a single match? I have no idea what it was. If it was a run-in,
I don't know.
Or whatever.
I don't know.
Because they could have put the camera on something else.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember when you put me in that very first 6-man tag, it was like after my first day in class. I had no idea what I was doing. It was all contract guys.
Yeah.
And me. And Cousin Crazy was refereeing.
Uh-huh.
And I was punching, I think, Mark Jindrak or somebody. And Crazy said, "Please do not throw another punch."
Well, that's good. I like that.
And it wasn't because I was breaking the rules. It was because they were so shitty.
Yeah, so that's the norm.
Please don't throw another punch. It's like, okay.
Oh, that's like if Regal would have seen it. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God. Oh, Reem, please, I beg of you, on bended knee, do not ever attempt to throw a strike. Please, you're fucking rotten.
Vito's in the house. T. Weasel's
All right,
not here,
Vito,
but Vito's
baby.
here and queer, he said.
Here and queer. Well, we know you're here, and we also know you're a little bit effeminate, so what the hell, right?
And now we know you're queer.
Yeah. Well, we've known it for a long time. We just kayfabe it good.
George said he was saving Seth Rollins, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, George would know if anybody.
Yeah. Now, I when you were gone one time here a little bit ago, I put up this
that's the
picture
Seymour Seymour baseball team. I'm a sophomore. I think
that's you in the front row, the far right front. That's you.
Yeah, I weigh about 160 pounds.
You look kind of big, I think.
Well, not when you got Rusty Kimmer, who's about 6'5" in the back, and Stan Schreier, who got drafted in Major League Baseball. There's Tommy Reinhart in the back, second to the back Rick Borcherding, Rick Borges, whatever his name. He was Artie
Willie
Ross.
Reinhardt was there too, huh?
Yeah, Stan Udy, Murph.
Worski on that team?
Yeah, but he never played. That was Mark. That was Mark Worski. He was good in Little League, but he probably weighed 240, 245.
Doug Hill, he was my 7th grade basketball coach.
Who was?
Doug Hill.
Oh, Bozo. Yeah.
He's the one that married Hubbard, right? The
Yes.
Hubbard girl. Yeah.
Yeah. He lived right across the street from my grandpa's store over by the Boys Club, on Broadway Street, South Carter, North Carter, whatever that was over there.
So Grant Graves was a manager, huh?
Yeah, he was a manager, right?
How about that?
Yeah,
Now, how did that team do? And do you know, was that one of your?
We had good baseball teams all the time I was there, and Stan Schreier won 9 games 4 years in a row. He was pitching varsity as a freshman. He could throw heat and a knuckler, but that was it. But he got drafted to play in the major leagues, and he played minor leagues. I can't remember how long it was, but he was the most valuable player in everything. The way the year before Barron Hill was. But Stan played varsity. He was on the varsity basketball team as a freshman. He was on the varsity baseball team as a freshman, and he played quarterback until his senior year. That's when Saminsky come in because he wanted Tim Hinkle because Tim was a sophomore. So Stan Schreier was a running back then. But Beamish, I never even heard him cuss. He's one of the nicest guys around, and he just had a shoulder surgery, just like Rick Mousa, who was he had surgery too. I guess he broke a hip or whatever it was. But Rick Mousa, who's on the Indiana All-Star team, just like Barron Hill was with the great basketball teams. God, I remember Mouse. He was on the Rockets in Little League like I was, and he hit one way out there, and the fence was down, so he had to run fast around it, but he got the home run, so that was awesome.
Fantastic. Dave Channel, who was a longtime listener of the show, said he put it in the comments he hadn't been on for a while because I think he was working or something. But shout out to Dave Channel, and he put right after our show, pretty much, when Sabu had passed away. Did you ever wrestle Sabu, Rip?
No, I was on shows with him, but I never worked with him.
Did you actually ever wrestle the Sheik?
No, he was just the boss there, and I worked. When I go up and work for him, I'd work the TV show at Channel 62 in Detroit. Then we would work Cobo Hall that night. And I never heard the Sheik speak any English when I was there. I think he was just fucking with me for kayfabe. And he would just glare at me all the time with them fucking eyes.
And when he came to ICW, you never wrestled him there either?
No, he was a heel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was a heel. But by then he sort of quit kayfabing. I said, no, I want you to keep kayfabe because I like the little adrenaline rush of being a scared little kid, and it made me love wrestling even more. So he would do that. I'd come in, hey, Sheik. He'd never say a word, just glare at me.
That's funny. Now, did you ever know a story about Lou Ferrigno playing football? That's Lou Ferrigno, right?
Yeah, that's Lou. Uh-huh.
I think he said he tried out for the Argonauts. I think it was the Canadian Football League.
I think that's right because he was basically a 6'5", 300-pound guy with above. He wasn't a football player, and he didn't have good hearing either. But they was just looking at him as to get extra publicity for the Argonauts or whoever he was trying out for.
So to the board, $10 super chat. This is a super idea, I guess. $10 super idea. Hey, Rip, I have an idea. What about streaming app with all of the ICW wrestling TV shows? I think WWE bought. Didn't they get that library? You know what Adam Parsons told us?
I think they did, but
or did he say he had him? Somebody else reported that WWE bought him, and then I can't remember now.
I used to have every one of my matches on there before they got boomed, except whatever the one tape we got over there at your house, 1 or 2. And I know Adam got some, and I'm trying to think who that other guy was, because I think they they made more copy. Was it Bruiser's wife? I can't remember who the hell it was.
Now, did they record over him at ICW, or do you think all of them existed still somewhere?
No, what we did was we had like on the 2 inches, we would like record a show on it. The next week we would record over it, then we'd record over it, then we'd record over it. But on like the 1/2 inch tapes or the 3/4, whatever the next one was, we didn't keep. We had all those laid out because the empty or blank 2 inch tapes, they were costing $200 in 1980 for just the tape with nothing on it. So
Wow.
yeah, so that was, and nobody really done that stuff before. If we'd have been that smart, yeah, I was just hell at that time. I was paying, I think it was $13.99 for a tape, but I could get how many matches on a 3-hour thing because it was just my
Yeah.
match going into the next week, going into the next week, going into the next week. That's always nice when you're 71 years old and then you can see that you can't say you was good. I go, God damn, I was fucking rotten. But then you can see how you got better and stuff too. So
Yeah,
center
that's
the
a great
board.
idea. I don't know how to do an app, and I don't have all the ICW wrestling shows. But
Yeah.
besides that, I think anything that we have, I could. I mean, if you have any, I can put them all on a YouTube channel or streaming app or whatever. Definitely on YouTube. I mean, we got a lot of the matches on here of Rip. I don't know. We have a lot of Rip's matches on here. I don't know how many ICW ones we have, but
Shit, you got me getting my head shaved, right?
yeah, I think yeah. A lot of that stuff I got blocked because it's got the actual Eye of the Tiger music in a lot of that stuff. And the guy that,
Yeah. I remember at that time you could play any songs. And now if you wrote the song, you're over and nobody can play it unless they pay you money or whatever you have to do now. I get that's why WD goes out and has a guy that he makes all the songs up or writes their music and stuff, right?
yeah. Thank you, center of the board, Screamy Baboon in green. Did Vader beat the F out of the Frenchman before he did the job?
Now, who's the Frenchman?
I don't know. Maybe I'm missing
Maybe a word.
Maybe I'm missing another comment or something.
I don't know who Vader would work. The Frenchman he would be talking about.
Is he talking? Oh, I think he's talking about Rambo. Did Vader and Rambo wrestle?
I don't think so. Not that year. Not when I was there. No, but I think Leon was coming in for Otto. And a lot of guys that would go there, they'd go 3 or 4 straight years. But I went once, and that was enough. I just wanted to experience it and go somewhere else.
Shane Parks, $1.49 super sticker. Thanks, Shane. Appreciate that. And he wants to know, did you ever wrestle Tiger Conway or Tiger Conway Jr.?
Yeah, I wrestled Tiger Conway Jr. I think it was in Houston. And then Tiger Conway Jr. and his dad happened to be there was what it was. I think it was working for Paul Bosch in Houston. But I wrestled Tiger Conway Jr. and his dad, who was Tiger Conway. He was there too. I remember that. Houston used to be.
Did you win?
No, I came in second. But I think it was a close second. No, I don't even think I got it. I hardly get any heat. And I said, no, I want to make you look good for your dad.
Vito said he's got some old VHS for OVW 98 to 2001. Must be pretty cool.
Yeah.
What year did you wrestle there, Rip?
Oh, I started, let's see, mostly when I come back from, I was working for Danny 2 days a week before, and then I went to the Maritimes in 97, then come back and went and started doing all the stuff there in 97 when I come back from the Maritimes. But in the 90s and stuff, I was working. Remember, remember when Mike Samples was working on Thursdays, and we worked Louisville and Jeffersonville, and then on a Tuesday I went to Broad Ripple, and was at the Vogue, and I was the bouncer there. But I could do these short shows or whatever, and play wrestling every night, which was cool.
It's awesome. Let's see what else we got here. You ever work in Alaska, Rip?
No, but I talked to Zicky Dyke, and he was working in Alaska last night. He quit one of those promotions about something and said, "Here I am." He was supposed to go back to Trinidad or wherever it was, or the Bahamas, and he's in has to fly out of Miami, but he was in Alaska last night when I talked to him.
Have you ever been to Alaska?
No, I know they used to run tours up there all the time. They were called, God damn it, the Canadian guy, the Tony Condello Tours. That's what it was. And they would go all the way. They would go all over Canada, and they would go up way up to Alaska and come back down. And you might work like 30 straight days and it all be in one bus. And it was just, everybody be drunk. They'd be all screwed up. It was just the guys hanging with the guys. It's fucking all. It was awesome. It's just like going to Japan, except not as much money, but everybody there was American or Canadian.
Bull Diggins said a lot of Rambo versus Bull Power. Was that
okay? Yeah, Vader was Bull Power over there. That's right. But at that the year I was there, he wasn't there, because I remember Otto always used. He liked big guys,
Yeah.
And Vader was over there as Bull Power. I couldn't think of his name, but since you said it right there, and all of a sudden it got into my old decrepit brain there. Okay.
Vito said $5 super chat. Were you there the night Flash beat the piss out of Jerry and Troy?
I think I was, but I didn't see it because they was always sitting at the same place at ringside.
Were they fans?
Well, no, they were in the business, but they broke off and they were with the Outlaw group, right? So I think Flash beat. Yeah, I remember. I didn't.
Isn't there
see
video
it,
of that? Did the cops come or something? I think I've seen that video maybe or something.
I can't remember. I just knew that Flash went off and beat the piss out of Troy and Jerry. And Troy and Jerry, they just wanted to be wrestlers, and they were just playing.
But wasn't it though during the middle of the show, like a middle of the promo or middle of a match or something? He just went out in the crowd and started beating them up.
I think that was.
If that's the video, I think I remember seeing. That
was awesome shit.
Yeah. Leave it to Flash.
But not as good as the Beast Dan Severn suplexing Manny the Weasel Valverde.
Shane Park said, "Ever work with Black Gordman?"
No, that was one of my goals too. I wanted to work Black Gordman and Goliath. They were big in the early 70s. They were the best heel team out of Los Angeles with Mike LaBelle at the Olympic Auditorium, and that's where Piper got me booked out there, just like he did Lanny Poffo. But then Randy said, "Come home," and I couldn't go. But I wanted to wrestle Black Gordman and Goliath. They were always because it was Mil Mascaras, Black Gordman, Goliath. It would be basically 70% Hispanics in the audience, and everybody was speaking Spanish and everything. So I just wanted to do it just a little bit, so I could tell stories about it.
What do you got covering up your phone now? What are you trying? There you go.
No, I just put it down here.
We couldn't know you had something hanging over it or something. We couldn't see
my hair.
No. Let's see what else we got here.
I got my free Ray Jazz T-shirt on. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. From the Damian Adams School of Hard Knocks.
So what's Ray Jazz doing these days?
He's a lifeguard on the beach, like in New Jersey.
Oh wow.
He's busy being over. He was a legit All-American wrestler.
Let's see. Rip T-shirt. We haven't sold the T-shirt countdown or what are those called? Like maybe not countdown, but
they need to be on super sale.
What is it when you? Gosh, I can't even think what I'm trying to say. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is we haven't sold a T-shirt in many months. ProWrestlingTees.com.
Well, you got to remember, it's just like the Outrunners, how they're leading the AEW in gimmicks sold, because some of them other guys have been theirs for years and years and years, right? They've already bought all their stuff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So
Well, if
I'm
you happen to already buy Rip's old book, you can get the new book that's
well, that's
exactly the
okay.
same
There's the
book.
old one and the new one. You need to get
Yeah.
both of them to
If
get
you
that
already
extra-
have this one, go ahead and buy this one that's the exact same book.
But
do
it's
that.
got extra 50 pages on there and more stories. That's the thing.
Oh, an extra 50 pages. I always forget
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's a lot of fucking stories. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of having 2 books, you just buy the new one, and then you should have bought the old one anyway.
Any update on your new book?
Well, I was supposed to have a meeting. I was supposed to have an appointment at a certain time, and I was said, "Oh yeah, I'll be there in a minute. I'll be there in a minute, and I'll be there in a minute." And then that minute didn't come, so I just I might not be going back to the new book thing, even though I've had 11 sessions, and that would have been the 12th session of talking stuff, because I sat there like a fucking idiot and like a fucking goof for how many hours? Where I should have said either no or well, when just send me the link when it's time. And said, "Oh, right, get ready. I'm going to send you the link," and then not get sent any. I'm just such a hard-nosed negotiator is what I am. That's what it is.
Vito said, I once saw Juan Hurtado give Dan Severn hell in the OVW training class. Juan was a beast. Wow.
Oh, he was a beast, but Dan Severn was the real beast. So Dan was such a nice guy, he didn't kill Juan. Because he
You think he would have taken Juan?
Oh my God.
Sounds like Vito thinks Juan would have won.
Well, okay. Well, he's
Dan's nickname was the Beast.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, my money would have been on Dan Severn.
Yeah, that was Dan
Vito,
Severn.
you trying to say that Juan Hurtado would have tapped out Dan Severn or knocked him out? Is that what you're trying to say here?
Put the heat on him. What's he saying? He ain't saying nothing. He's hiding like Manny the Weasel.
It says CWA Catch Cup 1992, day 1023, July 1992.
Hey,
Rambo beat Rip Rogers.
Well, it was probably an upset. I don't think I would have. Rambo, he was tall, well-built, handsome, and athletic. I was short, not athletic, not handsome, and working an effeminate gimmick. So it was only right that I should lose.
Vito is claiming that Juan tapped him out and Danny destroyed the tape. I don't know if I'm believing that, Vito.
I ain't buying it.
We ain't buying it.
I ain't buying it.
Yeah.
Juan probably told him that.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see it, Vito? I'm not buying it either. What else we got? Rambo beat Terry Funk, Fit Finley, everyone in 92, and Rip Rogers, all the top stars.
Yeah. I'd put me on there with Fit and Terry Funk and me. Yeah. That's probably the top 3 I'd put.
Big George wants to know if I'm ready for an in-ring return. No, I am not. Shane Park said, did you ever wrestle Jake Roberts, Rip?
No, I was on a whole lot of shows with him, but we was always heels.
So did you ever think like, man, I need to turn babyface so I can wrestle some of these other guys sometimes?
No. Because when you have the heeling down, you're in control of the match.
Yeah.
Because they at the time, no matter what I'd have called, if Jake was a babyface, he'd just do what I said. Then afterwards, we say, well, I said, what do you think? He goes, well, and he'd probably say, well, we could have done this instead as an alternative. And instead of doing this as second, we should have done it third. And I said, oh, that's a good idea. You know what I mean? But you want to let that heel call it so he can get better.
Yeah, you're next on the Wrestling with Rip Rogers show.
Oh yeah, well, perfect.
We're live. You're live on You're live on YouTube right now.
Who called you?
Yeah. My wife.
Oh, well, hell, is she going to talk to the audience?
Nope. She said, call me back.
Oh, as Pat would say, talk to the people.
All right. Love you.
Oh my God, he's really getting over now. Oh, she already hung up, right? Okay.
We
Are the
gotta
girls-
get going anyway. It's 1:24. I got a cleaning lady, a possible new cleaning lady, Rip, coming at 1:30. Supposed to
You gotta-
check out my house and give me a quote here.
Shit, you got to go down and freshen up and maybe put a little manly charms on her. Maybe she'll cut you a deal.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I got to go through these Screaming Baboon, all these super chats we got today. We got a 40-ounce CD Club, whatever it was called. Shane
See,
Park, Patrick Young, center of the board, Big George, center of the board, Mackenzie Lambert, center of the board, Big George, center of the board, center of the board, center of the board, Shane Parks, Vito Andretti, Vito Andretti.
And
Wow.
Vito, is Vito still saying it? Is he still saying that fucking Juan Hutardo tapped out Dan Severn? Or
Yeah,
to get off
he
that?
said he said he's queer and that Severn's a pussy. That's what he said.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm going to see Dan next week, so
all
have him make a trip down here to Vito land.
right, let's get this music on. Got anything else, Rip?
No, we've been on for like an hour 26 or something like that, I think.
Any big weekend plans?
Well, I didn't even know it was Friday until was it last night, or I accidentally did that. I'll just get some kind of training in, and lay here and look at the NBA scores. Be cheering for my Denver Nuggets, and be cheering for the Knicks.
Can you hear this music?
Let me see. No, it's not nothing. Is it going? I can't hear nothing. No, I can't hear nothing.
All right, thanks everybody. This week, we got one last question. We got to stop.
Center the
this real
board,
quick.
okay.
Center the
Thoughts
board,
about
Center.
Teddy Long.
Gotta hold the train here. One last
Okay.
question. This is it. Teddy Long.
I like Teddy. He was a straight shooter. He'd been around a long time. He'd seen all the fucking shit. It wasn't his first county fair. He was always nice to me. I was nice to him. Always cordial to each other, and always had a good time and share and laugh. He's a good guy.
Never heard anything bad about Teddy Long.
Right.
I haven't anyway. I don't
No.
know. Don't
I
know
haven't
anything.
either.
Never heard anything bad about him. All right, thank you, center of the board. You're the man. Let's
Center the board. That's right, baby. Don't get any better than that. Thanks, Vaughn and Rip. 7 cute, little big. I'm going to watch Rambo. No, happy weekend. Let's go. Patrick Young, thanks for the class. They felt have safe, and then love you guys. Okay. Shane Parks, another great show. Thanks, Rip and Vaughn. Holy shit, I'm growing up. When was the fucking dream?